Have you ever sat across from someone, heart wide open, hoping they'd see the real you, only to walk away feeling emptier than before? It's not just about choosing the wrong person. It's about what it costs you, your confidence, your calm, your clarity. You start doubting yourself, blaming yourself. You stay longer than you should, waiting for them to change, thinking maybe this time will be different. But it never is. And you know why? Because no one teaches us how to protect our peace when we're in love. We're told to trust, to give people chances, to forgive, to stay. But what if I told you the one thing you never learned is the one thing that could have saved you? This is not just another motivational video. This is a mirror. And I'm not here to shout at you or tell you to just move on. I'm here to walk beside you, quietly, and offer you 5 Stoic rules that changed everything for me. Rules that helped me see clearly, leave with dignity, and choose myself even when it hurt. Because sometimes, the people we want the most are the ones that break us the deepest. But it doesn't have to be this way. If you've ever loved someone who confused you, made you doubt your worth, or drained your joy, then stay. Watch this. Breathe through it. Because the lesson isn't just about love, it's about returning to yourself. And this one Stoic rule? It might just be the thing that finally sets you free. They said they would change. You believed them. You saw glimpses of the person they could be, kind, attentive, present, and those moments kept you holding on. But deep down, you knew, that wasn't who they really were. Not consistently. Not fully. You weren't in love with them. You were in love with their potential. And that's one of the most dangerous kinds of love. Because when you fall in love with potential, you don't love the person standing in front of you, you love the version you've created in your mind. A version that only shows up in rare moments, that disappears when you need them most, that promises growth but delivers the same old wounds. The Stoics were clear about this: accept reality, not illusions. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But here's the thing, how can you react clearly when you've wrapped someone's brokenness in hope? Hope can be healing, but in the wrong relationship, it becomes a prison. It keeps you trying, fixing, waiting. It tells you, if I love them enough, they'll become who I know they can be. But that kind of hope blinds you. Because every time they mess up, you tell yourself it's temporary. Every time they disrespect your boundary, you excuse it as unhealed trauma. Every time they disappear, you tell yourself, they just need space. And slowly, you shrink. Your needs become negotiable. Your standards start to bend. Your love becomes a strategy, instead of a shared connection. That's not love. That's emotional bargaining. The Stoics taught emotional detachment, not coldness, but clarity. To see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. To stop assigning potential where there's only patterns. Look at their actions, not their words. Look at their consistency, not your chemistry. Look at your peace, has it grown, or disappeared since they came into your life? When you accept reality, when you stop rewriting red flags as just flaws, you reclaim your power. Because loving someone's potential is a gamble. But loving someone's truth, even when that truth says, "This isn't working," is what sets you free. But what if the person you're trying to protect your peace from is someone who keeps apologizing, keeps coming back, and keeps saying they've changed? What if you're mistaking chaos for chemistry, and calling it love? In the next rule, you'll see why your heart may be loyal to the very thing that's breaking it, and how Stoic detachment can finally set it free. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It doesn't scream in public or explode behind closed. Peace is quiet, calm, steady. It's the way your chest feels when you're not walking on eggshells. It's what your mind sounds like when it's not rehearsing comebacks or waiting for the next argument. And yet, many of us trade it away, day after day, for people who never deserved that price. Why? Because we confuse intensity for intimacy. We think chaos means passion. That the highs and lows prove the love is real, because it feels like something. But here's the truth no one told you early enough: dysfunction might feel familiar, but it's not love. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoics, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But what happens when the person is the outside event? What happens when your peace becomes the battlefield, and the one standing across from you is the one handing you emotional grenades? You try to fix them, to please them, to soften your voice, to ask less, to shrink smaller, to not set them off. But no matter how many versions of yourself you killed just to keep the peace, they still find a way to break it. Let me ask you something. How many nights have you gone to sleep with a racing heart, wondering if you're too much, or not enough? How many days have you spent rereading messages, decoding silence, apologizing for needing what every soul needs, to be safe, seen, and respected? The Stoics taught that your peace is your responsibility. Not because others won't try to disturb it, they will, but because you get to choose who has access to it. You can't control what someone else says. You can't control how someone else loves. But you can control what you allow, what you tolerate, what you keep letting back in. They don't have to hit you to hurt you. They don't have to leave bruises for you to bleed. If you feel anxious more than calm, if you feel confused more than certain, if you have to convince yourself that maybe they didn't mean it like that every other week, then this is your sign. Your peace is the price tag, and they're too expensive. You were not born to manage someone else's dysfunction at the cost of your nervous system. You were not born to abandon your truth in exchange for crumbs of affection. Love should never feel like a survival tactic. If it's always hurting, always costing, always draining, it's not love. It's a lesson. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is not fight harder, but walk away softer. Walk away not with rage, but with resolve. Because once you taste peace after chaos, you'll never trade it again. Protect it. Defend it. Choose it. Every time. But here's the paradox. What if you're not with someone who's breaking you on purpose? What if they're trying, they're hurting, they've been through a lot, and you keep holding on, believing they'll eventually become the partner you need? What if your love isn't toxic, but your expectations are? In Rule 3, we'll explore the danger of falling in love with potential, and why Stoic wisdom teaches us to choose truth over fantasy, every single time. Brain Rule 3, don't fall in love with potential, fall in love with reality. It always starts small. A moment of charm. A glimpse of something deeper. A confession they didn't tell anyone else. You catch their pain behind the smile, and something inside you, something kind, something hopeful, whispers, I can help them heal. You don't fall in love with who they are, you fall in love with who they could become. You don't love the reality, you love the potential. But Stoic wisdom cuts through illusion like a blade. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Epictetus. In relationships, the imagined version of someone is often more dangerous than who they really are. Because potential is seductive. It gives you just enough to keep hoping. Just enough good moments to override the bad. Just enough apologies to cancel out the pain. And so you stay. You stay because you think they'll change. You stay because you see a future version of them who finally loves you the way you need. But the Stoics remind us, reality is what is. Not what could be. Not what might be. Not what we wish it were. Reality is this: are they showing up for you now? Not someday. Not when they're less busy. Not when they're healed. Not once things settle down. Now. Because your heart is a present tense thing. It lives in the now. It breaks in the now, and every time you love someone's potential more than their reality, you abandon the part of yourself that needs safety today for a fantasy of tomorrow. You become a prisoner of possibility. You wait, and you wait, and you wait, until one day, you're not even sure who you became in the process. You were supposed to be partners, not a project manager. You were supposed to grow together, not shrink yourself while they figure it out. Here's a truth you need to hear with kindness but clarity: you cannot build a stable future with unstable materials. If someone is inconsistent now, believe it. If they disrespect your boundaries now, believe it. If they use pain as an excuse to mistreat you now, believe it. Because the Stoics didn't believe in wishful thinking, they believed in observation. In detachment. In responding to what is, not what we wish was. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look things in the face, know them for what they are." That applies to people too. Does this person nourish your soul or drain it? Do they honor your values, or ask you to betray them? Do you feel like yourself with them, or like someone constantly trying to earn love? When you stop chasing the version of them in your head, you make space for the right person to find you. The one whose reality matches your hope. The one who doesn't need fixing, managing, or justifying. Just real, quiet, honest love, in the present tense. Don't let potential blind you to patterns. Don't confuse hope with evidence. And don't keep betting on a version of someone that only exists in your imagination. Love who they are. Not who you want them to be. Because your peace deserves proof, not promises. But if loving someone's potential can blind you, what if I told you there's another trap that works the opposite way, where you convince yourself to settle, even when something deep inside is screaming that it's wrong? Let's talk about that next. Hearts broken not because they loved the wrong person, but because they loved a version of that person that never existed. They fell for someone's potential, not their reality. The Stoics taught a radical kind of honesty. Not just about the world, but about people. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." That includes the person you're dating. You can't truly see them for who they are if you're busy projecting who you want them to become. Maybe they said all the right things at the beginning. Maybe they showed flashes of greatness, glimpses of kindness, or moments of ambition. But ask yourself honestly, who have they been, consistently? A Stoic heart doesn't fall in love with the idea of someone. It doesn't stay in relationships because of what could be. It stays because of what already is. A healthy partner doesn't need to be fixed. They're already showing you their values, their consistency, their emotional maturity. You don't have to hold their hand and drag them toward growth. But if you're stuck waiting for someone to change, ask yourself this: are they actually growing, or are you just clinging to hope? The hardest pill to swallow is this: not everyone you love will grow with you. Some people stay the same because staying broken gets them attention. Some people love chaos because they don't know what peace feels like. And some people only love you when it's convenient. Don't confuse attachment for growth. Don't mistake endurance for love. And don't waste your life falling in love with someone's potential when all you've ever had is their pattern. In Stoic thought, we're taught to confront reality, not to escape into it. So the next time you find yourself justifying bad behavior with phrases like "they just need time," or "they didn't mean it," or "if I just love them more, they'll change," stop. That's not love. That's denial dressed in loyalty. Love what is real. Not what hurts you. Not what you wish it was. And especially not what you imagined it could become. Because what you tolerate becomes your emotional home. And over time, that home becomes your prison. But what if you've already left? What if you've walked away from the chaos, yet somehow, you still miss them? What if your body is free but your mind is still chained to the memory? In the final rule, we'll uncover how Stoic detachment heals not just your heart, but your identity, and helps you finally reclaim your freedom from within. You left. You finally cut them off. Blocked the calls. Deleted the photos. Maybe even cried yourself to sleep for weeks. But why does it still hurt? Why do you still catch yourself hoping they'll change? Why do you still feel guilty, like you gave up too soon? This is where most people get trapped. They confuse detachment with bitterness. They think letting go means being cold, numb, or resentful. But the Stoics saw detachment differently. To them, detachment wasn't removing love. It was purifying it. It was the ability to love something, or someone, deeply, without letting it control you. Marcus Aurelius said, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Stoic detachment means recognizing that your peace, your dignity, your purpose must never depend on someone else's presence. It means realizing that if someone could only love you on their terms, then it was never love. It was possession. It was dependency. It was emotional hunger wearing a mask. You see, love doesn't mean holding on tightly. Sometimes love means walking away, quietly, with your head held high, because you've finally remembered your worth. And no, they don't have to understand. They don't need to give you closure. Because the closure you're looking for is not in their apology. It's in your own decision to stop waiting for it. Stoic detachment is not about forgetting someone. It's about reclaiming yourself in their absence. It's standing in front of a mirror and whispering, "I still miss you, but I choose me." It's remembering that no matter how much you gave, how much you tried, how patient or loyal or soft you were, some people will still choose chaos. And you were not created to drown in their storm. The truth is, you don't need them to come back. You need you to come back. To your goals. To your peace. To your joy. To the version of you that doesn't beg for love, but simply embodies it. And once you truly detach, once you stop assigning someone else the job of completing you, a strange thing happens. You no longer crave validation. You no longer tolerate emotional crumbs. You no longer confuse drama for passion. Because you found something deeper. You found self-respect, and that, my friend, is the most unshakable kind of love there is. You see, the world is filled with advice on how to get someone back. But the Stoics? They taught us how to get ourselves back. This one Stoic rule, detachment, doesn't just save your heart. It saves your future. It teaches you that love without freedom is slavery. And freedom without self-awareness is just another kind of loneliness. So remember, let them go. Find yourself. And never chase what costs you your peace. They say love is blind. But what they don't tell you is that it's not supposed to make you lose yourself. If you've made it this far, maybe you've been through it, the confusion, the heartbreak, the endless second chances. But now, you're not here to chase anymore. You're here to rise. Because sometimes, all it takes is one rule. To save your heart from the wrong person. And return it to the right one, you. If this message found you at the right time, then don't just watch. Become. Start living the wisdom you already carry inside. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe to Fragment of Self. For more Stoic truth, healing, and quiet power. And if this helped you, Share it with someone still trying to choose the wrong person. Your next chapter begins when you stop asking, "Will they come back?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming?"